It's our Talk to the Governor segment, and Governor Katie Hobbs is with us. Governor Hobbs, we'd like to start with a story that, it's touched us. It's touched our hearts. I think it's touched others. And why don't we start with that, Gaydos?
Yeah, Peoria mom, a Peoria wife, businesses, two terrific restaurants. She's been here for 20 years. She came here illegally. We have talked to her husband. We've talked to her daughter. And she came here the wrong way and admits it.
Has been trying to get right the whole time. Yeah.
She had a meeting at the ICE headquarters, and they arrested her and handcuffed her, and they decided that they're going to deport her. And we've talked about the ICE raids and deportations and the border and everything. This is a woman who has built something out here, who doesn't have a criminal record, yet she was taken by ICE and put in an Eloy facility. I think that we're deporting the wrong people, Governor. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I've seen the story. I obviously don't know all of the details of her situation, but this is heartbreaking, and it is exactly why I have been urging immigration officials to focus on the campaign promise that Donald Trump made, that we were going to go after criminals, that we are going to go after people who are breaking the law. And that's not what this is. We shouldn't be trying to go after people who are living in their communities, who have been here for years, who are paying taxes, following the law, dreamers. And I don't think this is keeping our community safe at all.
Her husband was on the show along with her daughter, and we asked him this.
If you could ask Governor Hobbs something, what would you say?
Not every immigrant is a criminal. I mean, I would say don't treat everybody the way, only because one person is a criminal, that doesn't mean everybody is. They should go based off of what they've done throughout the time they've been here. From when they arrived, what they've done, they built this, success, get back to the community, provide for our fire department, police department, for our city, member of Chamber of Commerce. Why get rid of people like that?
Yeah.
You want people like that to take advantage of their opportunity. You know, and that's one of the reasons why she left, because she wanted something better for her daughter.
Right. And I think they're wondering, is there anything you can do to help?
Yeah.
Or are your hands tied because this is a federal issue?
Well, I agree with him, and my hands are tied. I can't keep ICE from taking this kind of action, but I'll continue to say what I do support, and it's certainly not going after people like her.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. Needless to say, and again, if I could just throw in, I know that the number the Department of Justice actually, is their own number, said there's about 10,000 adjudicated criminals in this country illegally that we haven't rounded up.
Yeah.
But we found the lady with a sushi restaurant in Peoria.
Well,
so.
and she was going to a legal appointment, and my question here is, if we're going after people who are following the law and doing what they're supposed to do, what's to incentivize anyone to follow the laws now?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an open borders guy. I've never been an open borders guy. I know that not everybody should stay. If it was up to me, Governor, everybody who came in under Joe Biden would be out. You haven't had enough time here to maybe, set roots down and all that. But if you've got somebody here that's been here for 20 years, the only reason her daughter is alive is because she escaped China. I guess
the one-child rule she was trying to get away from. Yeah.
I guess my question is, like, and I don't even know if you know this, the answer to this. Do we not look into if people should stay? Is it, oh, you're illegal and it doesn't matter what your background is, and it doesn't matter what you've done for 20 years. Like, I would look at this woman in Peoria and say, okay, well, after she got here, no criminal record. After she got here, she's hired, hundreds of people. She is, good for Peoria, Arizona. Does ICE or do they take into consideration any of that, or is it your status is illegal, we have to deport you?
I mean, I can't speak to what goes into their decision making, but I can say if they were utilizing all the resources that they're using to indiscriminately round people up, to actually execute warrants of people who have committed crimes and go after those adjudicated criminals that you mentioned, I think our communities would be a lot safer.
I wanted to talk to something. I'm going to jump ahead here a little bit, Gaydos, but I know it's something you spoke about too. I'm trying to understand exactly what's happening up at the Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
Specifically the North Rim and this fire. I don't know if it's an act of God and gosh darn it, it's horrible, or was there some sort of negligence there? And so can you help me understand, at least from your standpoint, what is your concern with the wildfire burning up at the Grand Canyon now? Yeah,
first, let me say we have there's several fires burning across the state, and the folks on the front lines, the firefighters, the emergency responders are doing heroic work, and they have our support, and I'm incredibly grateful. Arizonans should be incredibly grateful to them for keeping us safe. This particular fire, the Dragon Bravo fire, was started by natural causes. It was a lightning strike, and on federal land, and the federal authorities, in this case it was National Park, decided to manage it as a controlled burn. That was July 4th. It was hot, dry, lack of moisture, dense fuel, and that controlled burn got out of control. And so I'm concerned, and I think a lot of Arizonans share that concern. We were at the mercy of this federal decision, and now we've lost this iconic Grand Canyon Lodge and several other buildings that impact the ability to have that park open as a tourist attraction. It's going to be closed for the rest of the summer. That's going to impact a lot of small businesses in that part of the state. And so certainly the top priority right now is getting this fire under control. It's at zero containment right now. And once that happens, we need to look at the decision-making process and why the decision was made to manage the fire in the way that it was.
Well, I don't know if everybody understands that, because I guess it was a little bit news to me. Like, if a fire breaks out in Prescott, there are resources the state of Arizona is involved in. But if it breaks out on federal land, it's kind of your hands off on it?
So I think every fire is unique. And every single fire that happens in a state like Arizona, where we have a patchwork of state land, tribal land, federal land, is an exercise in collaboration and coordination between multiple jurisdictions, getting the resources we need to control and manage the fire and protect life and property. But at the start, the decision-making happens based on the jurisdiction. In this case, it was federal jurisdiction. And now there's a federal incident command in place. There certainly are state firefighters providing assistance and support, as we would in any fire that breaks out in the state. But yes, they were the ones who initially made they are the ones calling the shots here.
You think they made the wrong decision?
I'm not saying that, but I think that Arizonans have questions and we deserve answers. And this is, I mean, I was born and raised here. The Grand Canyon is not just a national treasure or an Arizona treasure, it's a national treasure. So many people across the state, across the country have memories of spending time at that Grand Canyon Lodge with their families. And it's lost. And certainly am very grateful that there hasn't been any life lost in this fire. But I think at the end of the day, when we've gotten through this crisis, we deserve answers.
All right. Arizona Governor Katie Hobbs is joining us in studio. It's every 2 weeks. The Talk to the Governor segment happens at 5:30. Let's talk about EAS.
ESA?
I'm sorry, ESA.
I was going to say.
I'm like, that's a new thing.
I don't know what it is.
Okay.
ESA.
Yeah.
Okay, so every parent gets like $7 or $8 grand, and they're supposed to use it towards their children. It's the empowerment scholarship, and we've certainly found out that parents are using that money for horsey rides.
Yep.
Okay. What was the other one, Bruce? I forgot. Was it piano?
Piano lessons.
Okay.
We had
You-
that.
And a grand piano.
Oh,
And a $16,000 cello.
yeah. And
Trips to Disneyland.
People are using it for trips. And what we found out last week is people are hoarding the money. And they're now going to use our tax dollars to pay for their kids' college. Man,
Hundreds of thousands of
I
dollars
did
in some
not vote
cases.
for that. I don't think anybody
Nope.
voted for that.
Nope. You're 100% right. I think even people who support the program would say this is not what they support. And when you talk to teachers in poor schools that are spending money out of their own pocket to buy school supplies, are fundraising to provide special activities for their classroom, whatever it is, and then you find out there's $400 and some million sitting out there in private accounts that could be going to our public schools, it's outrageous. And this is why I have continued to call for accountability, for guardrails, for reasonable limitations on these funds, because it is robbing our public schools and robbing students across the state from having equal access to quality education.
So, Governor Hobbs, I know you believe that, and some of the other studies have said this may end up costing us $1 billion,
Yep.
blowing $1 billion hole in the budget.
$1 billion boondoggle.
Okay, then why did you agree to a budget that didn't address changing those things?
I have proposed changes every single year. At the end of the day, we have to get a budget through. We, as you recall, the last time I was here, we talked about being on the brink of a government shutdown because of shenanigans. And so just because we weren't able to get it into this budget doesn't mean we're done with the fight. And I think the more we see about how these dollars are being abused, the more ammunition it provides to finally bring some accountability to this program. And I'm not done fighting for it.
In your mind, it wasn't worth holding everything up, shutting the state down to get rid of this program?
There are many programs that we fought for, that we were able to get funding for. And at the end of the day, the budget is a compromise. There were things certainly that were non-starters for me that Republicans might have liked to see in the budget. And they have continued to make it clear that this is a non-starter. Now, I don't know why you want to go out and defend that people are hoarding this money in private accounts or spending it on $16,000 cellos, but that's the choice that they've made.
Governor Hobbs, you recently tweeted about communication with business owners
Yes.
and the impact that tariffs are having on their businesses. We also know now there's is it 17% on tomatoes?
Mexico.
Or 50% on some tomatoes?
17% trade tariff on Mexican
tomatoes.
Tomatoes from Mexico.
It is because the president decided to withdraw from the decades-old, since 1996, tomato suspension agreement.
There's something called the tomato
In
suspension
favor
agreement.
of inferior quality tomatoes from Florida. And it's going to put a 17% tax on tomatoes that we buy here in Arizona. But in more above, I mean, that hurts every
Right.
grocery buyer across the state. It's risking 50,000 agriculture and produce-related jobs and $8.5 billion in economic activity.
Always seems like he changes his mind on this and he'll go away from it in a week or two, though. I don't know. You can't get into his head.
If you
but,
tell him it affects his ketchup on his Big Mac, maybe it will.
well, I'm just saying that a lot of times he changed his mind on tariffs, and this could disappear.
I mean, this is, I think, specific to this tomato suspension agreement that he has withdrawn us from. So maybe he will, but it was a bad decision.
All right.
I'm
Governor
with you.
Katie Hobbs joining us in studio. I want to go back to immigration. Do you think Arizona should pass a law on all law enforcement? No masks. We've seen ICE agents in masks. Bruce and I have yelled at each other for this. I understand why they're wearing a mask. He hates it, and he's got his opinions, and I've got mine. And do you think that Arizona needs a law that says if you're in law enforcement with very limited carve-outs for legitimate undercover cops
work or something?
Does
Yeah.
Arizona need a law outlawing masks on all law enforcement?
Look, I absolutely understand the concerns people have with particularly what we're seeing right now with ICE agents wearing masks. I know in my conversations with Colonel Glover, who's the head of the Department of Public Safety, he shared that he has concerns about people using this as an opportunity to impersonate ICE agents. And so that's a big concern. But he's also shared with me there are circumstances where his troopers are going to wear masks in certain situations to protect themselves, for example, undercover agents. And I think there's not a cut and dry, in this circumstance, yes, in this circumstance, no. It's a call that law enforcement leaders need to make for the safety of their officers, and I trust them to make that decision. And there's not a state law we can pass that will affect what ICE is doing because they're federal agents.
There's a report that assaults against agents and officers are up 830% compared to last year. There was an incident in Dallas. An ICE agent was dragged a block by an illegal immigrant from Honduras. They tried to detain him. He was on the run. They tried to sustain the guy, and it was some sort of a mess, obviously. But I think the ICE agents also are trying to I guess, kind of hide who they are, because there are people out there, activists, who are trying to out them and then put them on social media and then put their address. And I'm not for that. They've got to have some sort of, so are you okay with them wearing masks?
Look, I don't think there's a cut and dry yes or no. I think there's circumstances that it's important for protection and others where it's not. And I think, again, we have to trust our law enforcement leaders to make the right call to keep their officers safe and to keep the trust that they need to have with the community intact. And I think we're seeing tensions escalate. You mentioned violence against an officer. That's not ever okay.
No.
And so I just think tensions are very high right now, and there's a lot of reason to be concerned about that.
Fair enough. Governor Hobbs, appreciate your time. Thank you so very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, Governor.
Outstanding. That's Governor Hobbs, our Talk to the Governor segment. We'll have you back in a couple of weeks. It'd be great to have that conversation again.
Thanks for watching Outspoken with Bruce and Gaydos. Tap to watch more from KTAR News and click the button in the middle to subscribe.